fact, the hardest choice I ever made was, is fear enough to stop me from doing what I want to? Is fear enough to keep me doing something that I was actually really good at, but I didn't have any passion for it?
Your success and growth all start in your mind. So get ready for another mind shift. Hey everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Mind Shift. I'm your host, Joshua Kangley, and I'm so excited, guys. I am just so excited about this show. And I'm excited about our next guest as well today. Guys, thanks again for tuning in like always. Again, if you're just discovering me, my name is Joshua Kangley, and this all started with the podcast called Table Talks. And those of you who are following me and joining me, coming on over from that show, welcome here. Thank you for your continued support and joining me on my next phase of my journey. My mission, as I've said, to create content we can all learn from by sharing messages from people who are out there going for it, who are out there helping other people with their purposes and passion. And it's my purpose to share those stories so that we can all learn. And I'm super excited about today's episode because today's episode really is all about going for it. At some point, you have to decide to go for it. At some point, you have to decide that you believe in yourself enough, that you are good enough, and that you have the right stuff, what it takes. You have to, at some point, make that initial step. And it is hard and it is scary, but you have to do it. You have to believe in yourself so much that you're willing to do that. And that is just what my next guest has done. And I'm so excited to introduce him to you because he's also been an inspiration to me. He gave up and quit his job that he had a leadership role in to continue his passion. And I think that is just so amazing and encouraging to see people do that because it can be done. Go for it. Take the time, take this opportunity, and just go for it. You know, there's more good out there than bad. There's more positivity than negativity. And I want to shine a light on that and give that to you guys. So without further ado, I have Mr. David Rubalcava on the show today. He is an aspiring editor, filmmaker, director. He's been involved in some really cool projects right now, currently, and he's got some really cool stuff on the way. He also had a podcast, a very awesome leadership podcast as well. We'll talk more about that. He is also going to be co-author on a book that I'm working on for 2020. And that book is called Mind Shift. And it's going to be out this year. Stay tuned for more information on that. But he's also going to be a co-author and contributor to that book as well. So he's got some really cool things going on. This guy is really talented and he's really supportive and just a really good guy. And I can't wait to introduce you to him. So without further ado, let's go to our conversation with David Rubalcava. David, welcome to the show.
Yeah. Hey, man, I'm glad to be here. Happy to be here.
Thank you so much. You know, I'm glad that you're on the show because, you know, when I started my journey in doing, you know, podcasting and things like that, you were one of the first people that I kind of connected with, you know, who was doing a podcast and in that kind of same space. And so, you know, connecting with you and, you know, getting inspired by what you're doing and then seeing our journeys kind of interweave and kind of work together on some things has been awesome. So
Definitely.
I know you have a lot to talk about with what you've been doing in leadership. And so I'm just kind of really excited to talk to you today and welcome you on the show, Mind Shift.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. No, it's been cool watching your journey, you know, over the last couple of years, and it's just been awesome, man. So to be able to reconnect with you and, you know, got a new show, and I'm just excited to be here, man. I appreciate it.
Thank you. And, you know, it's been a journey, like you said too. And, you know, we've talked about it, you know, from time to time, and it's like you said, it's a journey, and just to kind of see where things go and things come full circle is just so cool. And so again, glad to have you on. But first, before I kind of introduce you, go ahead and take this time right now to kind of introduce yourself to the audience.
Yeah, perfect. Hey, my name's David Rubalcava. Currently, I'm starting to direct. I'm an editor. I do a lot of cool stuff with film right now, and so I just got into it. I did a podcast, "Awaken the Leader Inside," which where I met Josh, and I was a working professional for 20 years in retail. In management. And so my professional background is actually in management until I decided to kind of shift it and then go after my dreams, go after my passions. And that's kind of what led me to this journey now of, filmmaking and connecting and networking with some really cool directors, producers. And that's it, man. So I took the leap and now I'm here. So I'm excited to be here, man.
Yeah, and you did take the leap, and that's why I'm so excited to talk to you, because so many people out there wonder, should they, even me sometimes, I'm like, it's so scary, but you took
Oh
that
yeah.
leap, and, at some point you have to, and that's why I'm so excited, because I feel like you're on the cusp of some big things, you're doing some great things, and it's just so exciting to see what you're doing, and so that we all can learn from, like, how do you get there? How do you get from, starting to where you are now and the journey that it's taken. So, you mentioned your
Yeah.
podcast, Awaken the Leader, and it's so cool because I was listening to a lot of those episodes, and you have such great advice and like what you talk about, because, a lot of people talk about leadership, you and I both do, but you and I also both, were in the actual field, using these principles
Right.
and leading with these principles. And so, like, what inspired you? Let's just first start, like, what inspired you to become, like, and to grow as a leader in the retail space? Like, what inspired that? Like, what's the drive there?
You know what? I was really lucky, man. And by lucky, I mean that I was the right place, the right time, doing the right thing. And so I got an opportunity to open a new store. This is early in my career, man. Open a new store reluctantly, and so I took that position, and just happened to be that my supervisor, my leader, was actually out on vacation, getting ready to open the store, and so the leadership team asked me to step in, and I'm like, me? I don't know anything about anything. But, I had some cool people that really pushed me and challenged me. And up until that point, I had never thought about management. I was like, that's not for me. I'm just going to go work somewhere, do my thing, make money. That's it. Keep it simple. And these leaders inspired me. And I just reconnected with the one that really gave me the opportunity to grow. His name's Richard Porter. I just reconnected with him maybe 2 weeks ago. But he bet on me. And so he bet on me and said, hey, I know you're young. He's like, but you got a lot of energy, you're focused, you take direction, and hey, we want you to lead this team. And so I did, temporarily. And ultimately that led to my first promotion, where he was opening another store. And then I just kind of, developed and grew under his wing, and he let me try, trial by error, and he let me grow. And I found this passion to teach other people because of those experiences. And then I continued to grow, eventually up to a store manager, store leader, and which led me to the podcast, because I wanted to teach and develop people how to become successful. Because unfortunately, up until that point in my life, when I met Richard, no one showed me. So I made a lot of mistakes. I don't even know how I kept my job, because I showed up late all the time, things like that. Just a learning curve when you're younger, and then take it serious and be responsible. And so I wanted to teach people how to be successful. And that's kind of what led to Awaken the Leader Inside. Is that at that moment, Awaken the Leader Inside is actually a reflection of what was happening in my life. So I had a bunch of brand new leaders in the store. It was like chaos. And so it kind of became like the documentary of me coming home every day, not sure how I can get this group of leaders to be successful. And so those were all the topics that were formed. And those, almost every episode that you hear in there, that's what we were discussing at store level to inspire and motivate them, get them to think like leaders. And so that's what that podcast was. It was almost self-reflection of what was happening up and even till the end, when I finally decided to move on to, film and doing different things. It's a documentary of what was happening to me at the moment.
your episodes, like you said, were reality. It was like what you were actually dealing with. And so super helpful
Right.
for the people that you were working with and leading, but also super helpful for other people out there who are dealing with those same circumstances, how to deal with challenging situations and how to overcome them. So, like you said, an awesome documentary, but also an awesome start on what you may not have known to come. So, and now you're into producing, editing,
Right.
directing, and things like this. And you've done some amazing projects. Talk about some of the projects that you've been excited to do and that you've been doing.
Yeah. Let me share quickly about how that podcast springboarded me, because I think it's important for you guys to
Yes.
hear. Like, I didn't know where that was going, and in some respects, I look back and I'm like, I wish I would have done more with that show, but it was a springboard. And so you got to find something that you had passion at the time. That's what I had passion for. That's what got me motivated. That's what got me over like those tough days, and eventually it led to doing more, because I went from audio to video and then starting to learn how to edit. And that's when I learned a passion that I didn't even know I had. Because up until that point, my passion was just leadership, not necessarily content creation or anything. I was not, I didn't go to school for that. I went to school for business. And
Yeah.
so it just opened a door for me of curiosity, and then it grew. And then I grew with YouTube and doing family videos. And that's kind of where I learned to edit into different types of videos, and eventually me wanting to become an editor professionally. And that's what took me on the journey to get into film. And I actually met, I have a mentor, two mentors actually, from Dream Team directors, and they're the ones that inspired me. I was able to get on a Fitzer commercial set, and I started seeing like the real production versus just, at home. I saw the real stuff. And so that's what inspired me to actually want to become a director. Because even up until that point, 8 months ago, it was just, I just want to learn how to edit professionally and hopefully work for, Warner Brothers or some company, big company. And now I'm inspired to write my own films, my short film that I'm filming right now. I'm working on a short film with Chris Connell Productions, which is a World War II film called The Promise, with Dream Team directors. Like I said, I did short films with them. Actually, this green screen right here was actually used in their short film called Saving Silver Lake, or Slashing Silver Lake. And so the things kind of just started moving in that direction. Like, once I made a choice that I don't want to do this anymore, I don't want to do retail. I love management, but I had this growing passion in my heart. I had to take the leap. And that was probably the scariest thing. It's still scary sometimes, but I had to chase my passion to do what made me feel fulfilled. And I think that was a choice. And then doors started opening, man. Once I started doing one project, it led to another one. And that's kind of where it took off.
Yeah, I think that's the key takeaway there. Like, you have to make that decision. And once you do make the decision, though, like you said, doors open, and it just kind of springboards into things where it kind of naturally progresses towards passions that, passions that maybe you didn't know you had, but they're coming to light because, you're taking the initiative to go forward with it and believe in yourself. And so, again, kudos to you and all you're doing. So talk about what you do with Netflix, or like talk about one of your projects that you're currently working on. I see you got the Netflix shirt, and you're in your studio.
Yeah. So look, as I'm growing, like, I realized, and like I said, I just going back to the podcast, I never thought I'd be doing this, but with I'm growing as an editor, as a filmmaker, but I do things on YouTube. I think YouTube has really launched me to want to do more and do it more professionally and things like that. And as I've grown, I started doing some fun things. And one of them is doing Netflix reviews on my channel, which is cool because you get to interact with people and have fun with them. And now that I'm getting more developed as an editor and a filmmaker and shooting more professionally, it was time to kind of upgrade what I've been doing. And it's just fun, man. Like, I can't express enough just having fun doing something. And so with whether it's Netflix or, I have Cobra Kai on the channel as well, because I love that show. That's actually what exploded my channel for me. But being able to create content, it has become just an amazing journey. And so I think even today I was filming some things for Netflix, top 10 movies and things like that, just to get some reviews and new movies and new content out. But it's just like, it's so gratifying to do something like that. And I can't wait to finish filming our first short film called The Painted Fronds, and for that content to come out, because that's done more on a professional cinematic type level, and it's the first thing that I have that's actually under IMDb now.
Oh,
so
wow.
it's like it's just so cool to experience that, man. But it took a lot of hard work. It took a lot of overcoming fears, learning how to network with people, and feeling like you're good enough. I know that sounds crazy, but I went from being in this world of doing these things kind of, and I'll call it amateur. It kind of was like I was learning, to having professionals look at your content, your professionals saying, hey, I love this. You shot this really well. Hey, can you shoot some footage for me because we have this project? And I'm like, me? Like me? As I, of course I'll do that. Me, exactly. And so it was like that validation, but it took a lot of hard work. I worked really hard at the level of detail and just getting better at your craft and whatever you're doing. And so when you get that kind of validation, it's like, okay, I can do more. And that's kind of what led me to doing, more videos and Netflix reviews and things like that. So it's exciting. It's exciting to have fun doing some of this stuff.
It really is. And when you enjoy doing what you love, that's just so awesome. Like you said, it adds to the whole thing. And I think that's what we all want to do, is like having fun doing what we love to do. And, it's just been so cool to watch that for you. And you mentioned networking too. That's something I had to learn. Networking is so huge, and learning to believe in yourself. Absolutely. When I first started doing podcasts too, I was super amateur.
And look at you now, man. You're killing it. You're doing awesome.
And I'm still learning as I go too. And actually, you've been a huge help into some of the production, post-production, and give me some hints and tips and things that I can do. So you've actually been a really big help as far as that goes too, into bringing some of this to light.
Appreciate that, man.
Yeah, and just taking it to the next level. Because the whole goal is to share messages, share stories like yours, and get that out to the world and say, hey, you got a dream, you got something you want to do, go for it. Put the work in and go for it.
Yeah, exactly. The hardest choice I ever made is fear enough to stop me from doing what I want to? Is fear enough to keep me doing something that I was actually really good at, but I didn't have any passion for it? And I think that's the scariest thing for people out there, whether you want to take the leap or you want to switch careers, or maybe, hey, you just want to move up into management, is you got to create. You gotta push that stuff into reality. You have to make choices to open those doors for yourself. And so like I took the leap that, hey, I need a mentor, and, I need to get exposure. And I made all these, and every day I felt uncomfortable. For 6 months, I felt uncomfortable. I felt like the first time I was on a real set and I'm like getting coffee for people, I was like nervous. And here I ran $100,000. Making $100,000, $10 million operations when I worked for, a retailer, and I'm doing coffee and I'm nervous. You got to find that if you're willing to learn, you're willing to grow, and willing to take a step back sometimes, that you can grow. And ironically, that commercial with me doing coffee and eventually helping them on set, above that, led to this opportunity on this film, the short film called The Promise, the World War II one with Chris Connell. The cinematographer, Eugene, they had worked together. And one day I commented on a post that Chris put out there of some awesome camera. And we started talking. I said, hey, Chris, if you ever need help getting coffee on your set, let me know, man. I will help you. And so he called me the next day, and then he's like, I want you on this film. He's like, we're going to have you doing more, doing, as a producer's assistant and doing all the pre-production and helping them organize some things and doing research for them, all because I reached out to him on Instagram, just saying, hey man, I'm willing to help with whatever to get some exposure. And you open your own doors. And so you got to be able to take that risk and feel, even though you feel uncomfortable, you got to do it. Because like I personally couldn't go by feeling unhappy and unfulfilled every single day of my life. And it was tough for my family to watch that happening to me.
Yeah.
It was almost deflating.
Yeah.
And so it was time to make a choice. And so that's what I did. I chose to walk away from that and go after what I want to do.
That's awesome. Good for you. Good for you. So you mentioned your short film you have coming up. It's on IMDb, you said, right? IBMD?
IMDb. Yep. The Painted Frond.
Okay. When is that due, or is it already out, or when's that due to come out?
So it's set to release at the end of the summer, but with everything going on with the COVID, I have some things that I still have to shoot. And, the last 3 months it's been on hold. And so I'm just kind of doing all the pre-production, but the goal was to have it released at the end of the summer and hopefully do something with it. We get to, we were talking about with one of the guys that's in it. I don't want to give too much away, but the artist that inspired me to create this, we're talking about doing some type of premiere with him and, up from where we shot it on the hills near where I live and doing some things to premiere it. And, it's amazing. And this is the film that actually inspired me to direct and to do more, take on a bigger project. Cause I was lost at the time. I had just left my current job and I'm like, what am I going to do? I just knew I didn't want to do that. Yeah. And it just happened to be that, I started noticing these fronds and things around. They're just painted husk, from palm trees all over my city. And I said, you know what? I just grabbed my camera and started guerrilla filming out there, filming what's going on and investigating it. And that's what inspired. And we ended up finding who the artist was, interviewed, and then just kind of how his art inspired my art to become a filmmaker. And so it was one of those things where the stars align and I needed something to sink my teeth in. And this project just came to life, and it was shot like a documentary, kind of like Ghost Hunters. You're out there filming, like guerrilla filming. And, but it changed me, and it changed my confidence to create content outside of YouTube and to go after it and go do it. And so I'm still shooting it, and hopefully it'll be done this summer. If not, I know definitely in the fall, but I'm shooting to get it done this summer. So I think the set date I have is September 16th.
Okay. Well, I'll be looking forward to that, David. I really will be. So you got a lot of projects going on. What are some other goals you have, or what are some goals you have that you want to do yet? Or where do you see this taking you?
That's awesome, man. I'm glad you asked that. I saw myself as an editor. That's it, maybe a year ago. And now I do see myself as a filmmaker, a director. I went out and shot my first commercial in New Mexico as a restaurant burger commercial for Urban Cafe in New Mexico. And I could see myself now doing that. I want to shoot commercials and I want to shoot short films. Eventually, I was just talking to one of our boys yesterday, one of our sons. Eventually, I want to shoot a full-length film. And my goal is to do that in the next few years. In the meantime, is to start shooting more and more short films and projects beyond YouTube, bigger projects, bigger budgets. And even just being on this film, The Promise, I'm learning how to do that, all the behind the scenes, how to get people to help you and to fund it and all that. So it went from kind of a small scope thing to now let's see how big we can actually go with this and see what kind of films we can produce with real budgets. And so I'm hoping, or I'm excited to see in the next year that we produce something that is amazing, and that's a script, and we go out and get actors and we just go film this thing. And I don't know what it is yet, but I know I'm going to find it. So, but it's been cool having people start to reach out to me. Like I just had a music composer ask me, do you have anybody to compose the the music for the Painted Fronds. And I'm like,
Wow.
I don't yet, but if you want to help me, let's do it. And, as a professional composer. And so
Wow.
it's one of those things where you put things out into the universe and people start to notice it and people want to be a part of it. Just like I want to be a part of projects. I want to be a part of yours and help other people's projects. But you got to put it out there and, good things will happen. You just got to keep working.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You mentioned something too, I don't want to forget about, is you're actually going to be co-author in the book that we're working on together with some other co-authors for this. It's going to be called, the book is actually going to be called Mind Shift. Mind
Nice.
Shift, to kind of go along with the show. And you are a co-author of that book. This started back, the idea for this book started back in probably 2017, 2018. Mm-hmm. And because I knew 2020 was going to be a big year. I just knew it. But of course, I didn't know what it's going to be like.
I don't think any of us did.
Of course, no, none of us did. And so, but with everything going on, of course, I just had to reassess it and take a better look at how we were going to release this book with really good intentions to help as many people as we can. And so, I'm excited to have you in this book and to get this released. The plan is still this year, 2020. So that's the plan still. So again, looking forward to that too. Where can we find like your YouTube shows or where can we find more information on you, David? You're a super talented person, an awesome person. Where can we go?
I appreciate that, man. You can find my YouTube channel is Team Rubalcava Network. My Instagram that I use more for like behind the scenes and the shooting is at trn.media. And then my Twitter is TRN Network 7. And that's where I have more fun with that one. That's where a lot of the YouTube, I connect with a lot of people on YouTube channels there. And that's where we get to kind of just hang out, have fun and chat because, we all love, Cobra Kai and we kind of nerd out to that. I'm not gonna lie, I'm a nerd. I love that show, but that's kind of where it's more like I interact with a lot of the people on our YouTube channel is actually on Twitter. So, but that's it, man. That's where you can find me. Make sure to follow if you want to see the adventures that I'm on right now. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. We definitely be tuning in to that. David, thank you again for being on the show today. Thank you so much. Take care.
You too, man. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Hey, everyone. I hope you enjoyed that conversation. Again, what a great guy. Shout out to David Rubalcava for coming on the show and sharing his story today. I really appreciate that. Thank you, David. And thank you all for tuning in today. I really hope you, like I said, enjoyed that conversation, enjoyed this show, and I hope in some way it was helpful and beneficial to you. If you like, please like, share, subscribe. I really would appreciate that. If you have any encouraging comments, please go ahead and leave some comments. Also, I will be sure to include all of the links that you need to find more about David, all of his projects, and also where you can go to learn more about me. You can go to my website, www.hellomynameisjosh.com. That's hellomynameisjosh.com. There you can check out all my podcasts that I've had, as well as more information about me too. So again, just thank you so much for tuning in today. And I am so excited for this journey and all the great guests that are due to be on my show and to spread more motivation with you, more inspiration for you, and more uplifting stories by people who I call guiding lights. Again, thank you, David, and thank you, everyone, for tuning in. Until next time, I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.